freezing right now. I'm gonna make my dress look cute. I don't know if I'm gonna post this on YouTube yet. I haven't talked to my YouTube family in a really long time. But hey guys, I hope you're having an amazing day. I was actually listening to a sermon that I've actually heard before, and I just thought it was interesting because it said they had reposted it, and I'm like, maybe I should watch it again. And it was about being a traditional wife, or what it means to be a biblical wife. And my husband and I have really made it a point to just be the best we can in our marriage for each other. We make sure to watch a video that has to do with marriage at nighttime, and we talk about it, and then we get into conversations, and it's really good. So I highly recommend doing that as well. But guys, I was rewatching this, and God just brought something full circle for me about my marriage. And I want to share this for the women that are maybe newlyweds. You're about to get married, you've been in marriage for a long time, and you are trying to change your husband. Maybe your husband isn't very honorable right now. Like, he could be somebody who's extremely petty, he goes tit for tat, he just has a terrible attitude, or maybe he gets angry fast, and he uses not the best tone of voice with you, and it really hurts your feelings, and this makes you want to lash out too because you feel like you're defending yourself and all these types of things, right? A lot of those things that I mentioned are things that I went through with my husband, and there have been a lot of times where I felt disrespected, okay, and vice versa. There are times where I've disrespected my husband, and we would fall into this trap of going at it with each other instead of going to the root of the problem. So, you know, we had to grow in our communication and things like that. There was this one time where my husband was just not having a good day, and unfortunately he kind of took it out on me. But my role as a wife, and I've kind of always been like this, not perfect even outside of marriage, was that even if somebody was being mean to me, I was never a petty person to be mean back. Have I done it? Yes. I had to get to a very high point to get to that point, but it wasn't something that was consistent in my character, if that makes sense. But it did need to be refined. And yesterday my husband was talking to me as we were talking out these principles that we were learning in another marriage video. And I asked him, you know, a question along the lines of, why did you rate me a 9 out of 10 as your wife? Like, in terms of how I'm doing, not like looks or anything like that, but how I'm doing. He rated me a 9. I'm like, why did you rate me a 9? And one of the things that he said that really stood out to me and really brought things full circle for me, and I really appreciated, was he said that because you're not petty and you still serve me when I don't deserve it, or you still serve me when I'm being not the best, you know, person, or you still cook for me when I was being mean, things like that. And I got teary-eyed because it's been a long time since we've gone through something like that, but I've never knew that he noticed those things. And in the Bible, it actually tells us women that if our husbands are not really being honorable, so to say, that it is still the woman's responsibility to be kind. And I'm butchering it a lot, but that was like my way of saying it. I'm gonna have to find the scripture and post it for you guys. But us as women, we still have to be honorable to our husbands when the world would not see them as honorable, or when we feel disrespected and we feel like he's not listening, we feel like he's being mean or undeserving, or whatever the world would call it, right? It doesn't make it right that he's acting a certain way, but it's our responsibility as a wife, as a godly wife, to still remain Christ-like. And I was really taken back by his response to that, because sometimes we don't know if being Christ-like is worth it. Sometimes we don't know if acting like Christ is actually doing anything for us, for our husband, and for our marriage. And it doesn't just have to be in marriage. The response that ended up coming out of my mouth was actually a response that I did not expect, and it was almost like God was telling me something and showing me things, bringing them full circle from the things that I've had to go through in my past up until now. And what I said was, well, I'm used to being that way because of my stepmom. And I say that because my home life with my stepmom and I, we didn't really get along very well. And when she would do things that were uncalled for, most of the time, I would take the higher road and do things that people would probably look at me sideways for, because most people wouldn't have responded the way I responded in a lot of those instances, by just remaining calm and kind. Not all of the time. There were times where I was wrong in our relationship, but those times where I just decided to take the high road and be Christ-like after I became a Christian and I started to realize those things. Now, that's not to say that being Christ-like was easier. It's not like, oh, I'm a Jesus follower now and this person is being mean, so it's a lot easier to be nice. That's not the case. It's coming from a place of, I always get emotional in all my videos. It's more coming from a place of, I love God and I want my actions to honor God, even if someone is being dishonorable to me. And so growing up in that type of environment for a really long time taught me that. So there's almost like 2 points to this video. The first point is that you don't know what you're going through right now, that it's building your character, right? Because endurance builds character. When you have to persevere through endurance, it builds you to become a better person. And it's not easy, and it hurts, and it's refining, and God's purifying you and teaching you something and trying to rid you of things that aren't satisfying to Him. But when we get to that point, it's rewarding later. So I realized that those 11 years of suffering for me personally in my life, you know, living at my dad's house and that type of environment with my stepmom, learning those lessons helped me in my marriage years later. And I just realized that yesterday. It was really shocking to me, you guys, because, you know, that's a healing process for me, and I'm sure for my stepmom as well. And I don't tell that story to condemn her or anything like that, because we were both going through our own things, and it's a whole ordeal, okay? But my point being is, I was really shocked about my response, but also really shocked at the fact that my husband noticed those things. I just want to encourage you that if you're in a place where you feel like you are being disrespected, overlooked, and bullied, continue to take the high road. Continue to be kind. Continue to just be respectful and honorable. Continue to be an honorable person, even if the other person is not being honorable. And the reason you're doing that is not because they're in the right, it's because you love God and it's the right thing to do, and it is Christ-like to do those types of things. Now, over time in the Bible as well, it says that kindness leads to repentance. Okay, so even though it might be hard, I know it's hard, and I know that it feels weak sometimes, because I always felt like that when I wasn't fighting back sometimes in my past, or fighting back even in my marriage. It makes you feel weak, especially as a woman that has been ran over so much in her life, right? I'm talking about myself, and maybe you relate. As someone who's been ran over so many times, we can feel like we have to put on this barrier, and we start to put on this defense mode. Like, I have to defend myself because I'm never letting anybody else treat me like that ever again, right? But it doesn't come from a place of healing, it's coming from a place of hurt, and hurt people hurt people. So if you're coming from that place of defense and trying to guard yourself without God in the midst of it all, it's only going to end up creating more problems, more issues, and more hardships in your relationships or your marriage, specifically what I'm talking about right now. So if you're a woman who's a newlywed and you're married at the moment, and your husband has just like not been honoring, and you're going through this really tough season with your husband, I just want to come on here and encourage you and let you know that you are doing the right thing. It's totally okay to feel the way you might feel right now, which is maybe weak or inadequate, because you think in your mind that you're not standing up for yourself. But what you don't realize is that your husband realizes your kindness, even if he doesn't say anything. A man has needs, right? And those needs are ironically to be respected and honored. And even when he's not giving that to you, but you continue to meet those needs of him, he will feel it, because it takes a different type of strength, not weakness, to come to this place and still serve somebody who aka doesn't deserve it. There is something in the air when you do that. It's almost like a conviction for the man when you remain kind when he wasn't very kind. Continue to love your husband, to love God more so that you can overflow with love to your husband. That is so important. If your relationship with God is off, then your relationship with your husband is going to be off. You need to love Christ more than you love your husband. When I first met my husband, I always told him this. I'm like, I love Jesus more than you. And he would always get like, kind of like, you want to be in that place, because if not, your man will become your God. I just wanted to encourage you today that being kind in the midst of someone who's a bully or is mean, disrespectful, dishonorable, it's about being Christ-like, it's about being refined. I just wanted to encourage you really quick and come on here and say you're doing a great job. And if no one has told you that they see you, I just wanted to say that I see you, because I know in those times it's so hard to feel unseen and to feel like something's wrong with you, but nothing is wrong with you. God is refining your character, and as long as you continue to persevere and to endure, you will come out on the other side and realize what God was producing inside of you all these years or these months or whatever timeline He has for your life. So I appreciate you guys. I love you so much, and I will be talking to you soon. Bye.